Yeah, it's about the bag with the triple single crew. We got Ronnie, Doc, Antonio, the real deal too. They coming and dropping knowledge, you know that they get to work. You know that triple single cover Bay Area sports. You know I'm coming hard, I don't feel like I'm in a hurry. Like number 30, I really got the range like Stephen Curry. Get a couple rings and
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the triple single crew. I'm the real deal with Doc and Ronnie with me. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at TSC Bay Area. Leave us a like, subscribe to the channel, and leave us some comments below as well. Really helps the show, so we appreciate it. Fellas, so a couple of weeks ago, Shaq said something really funny. I think it was during the halftime for when probably it was a Buck game too, that we were getting our butts kicked right after the break. And he said that the Warriors should tank. Now there's those words, right? Should we tank? I'm not going to ask, should we tank? But my question to you guys today is, should we be prioritizing that 10th seed to get into the play-in game this year? Or should we be prioritizing making sure that we manage minutes with the vets and develop this roster so we can probably get a better draft pick going into the draft? What do you think, Ronnie?
If I were the Warriors, I definitely try to get a better asset in the draft. There's a lot of great prospects this year, prospects that I've been watching since they were in high school, like, Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, Jalen Suggs, Jalen Green, Jalen Johnson. There's just so many out there that, you honestly can't go wrong with any of them. So I think if you add an asset like that, let them come in and develop with a second-year Wiseman when that time comes. And, I don't think, it'll be awesome if you make the playing game, but I think getting a better asset would definitely help the Warriors out in the future to try and compete for a championship.
For sure.
That's what I say.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Doc?
If you would have asked me this before the trade deadline and before we got off to such a horrible start, after the break, I would have said, let's go in for that playing game. Let's try to get some of our young guys some experience with high intensity basketball. Let's get Steph Curry and Draymond Green that taste of playoff basketball. But ever since the break, it just seems like there is this really awkward energy within the team. I don't know if y'all saw Draymond Green's interview where he said his focus is not a play-in game. He only plays for the most intense games, assuming he's talking about finals, right? He said he's not going to go all out for a play-in game. And then you got Steph Curry, who's really upset, at the lack of just consistency that the team has showed and just some of the lack of development within everybody understanding the system and knowing how to play with him. I'm sure that's pretty frustrating too. So as I sit here now, I think I am leaning towards try to get the best asset you can, because we also got to acknowledge that due to this pandemic, even if we get into that play-in game, it probably won't even have the same atmosphere and feeling as a normal playoff game would, right? Everyone was bashing the bubble. It's most likely going to be similar to the bubble. And if we end up getting into that play-in game and lose, especially for the 10th seed, which I believe that's where we stand now, and we lose, it was for nothing. Or if we win one game and then we get swept, then it was for nothing, right? Because it's not like anybody got a chance to really feel that intensity of when you have thousands and thousands of fans, just cheering on either the Dubs or cheering against the Dubs. And so at this point, looking at the direction of our team, we need an infusion of young, talented players that will hopefully support the development of Steph Curry. The development of James Wiseman that will hopefully support Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green coming back next year as a big three. And as we've said, so that way you're not only building for the now, but you're building for the future. Because if we can get the Minnesota pick, which will probably be number 4 or 5, and then we can get our own pick and it be in the lottery, that's huge right there. That's huge. That minimizes the chance of us drafting another Damian Jones or another Evan. What was his name again? From the guy that
Jacob Evans.
Jacob Evans. Yeah, because those are the guys Bob Myers
Patrick McCaw. That's second round.
That was second round, right? So if we can get lottery picks, let's just hope that we don't get them wrong.
Yeah, and let's be honest, even Looney. Looney was, I think, the 30th or 31st
he was a 30th.
Pick. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you guys. Look, I'm not about the whole tanking thing and doing that, because these guys are competitors. These guys are professional. They're highly paid professionals, all of them. including in the front office. They're not going to just throw in a towel necessarily. But what I do think is, like we've discussed in a previous episode, if you're not going to make any moves at the deadline to really take a run and make sure that we're not as inconsistent, because let's be honest, when Steph is saying inconsistency, who's he pointing the finger at mostly? Probably Wiggins and Oubre, because they've been the two most inconsistent players. Now, he could be also talking about the young players not developing as fast as he'd hoped, like Wiseman, and maybe some of the others. But in general, I mean, those are the two guys where it's like, man, we need 20 points a night from you guys. You can't have 20 points one night and then 6 points the next, especially against bad teams.
Yep.
And that's happened. You know, we lost to Orlando this year. Like, you can't, Orlando's in the lottery, you know? So when you're a mediocre team or 500 team, you got to beat the bad teams. You know, right now I'm looking at, you know, again, I don't believe in tanking, but I'm looking at Tankathon just to see our current draft order. We're 13th right now. Okay. Minnesota still holds the protected and they're number 1, but I believe Minnesota has 13 wins. And then after that, it's 15 wins and 17 wins the next few teams. So are they going to catch up to those teams? Probably not. I mean, unless they go on like a little streak, right? So that protected pick is going to stay with them because it'll be top 3. So for us, our only hope is to actually not try so hard to get into a play-in game, which I think what Draymond's saying is, look, that's a crapshoot. You know, like we could do that, and let's be honest, are we beating the Lakers if LeBron gets healthy and Anthony Davis, who's probably further down the line, but they're rehabbing? Are we beating them? No. Are we beating the Suns? No. Are we beating the Clippers? No. In a 7-game series. Are we beating the Jazz? Absolutely not. Who's that?
The Nuggets.
Oh, the Nuggets.
Are we beating them? No. And then even if we get past all of them, you know, in some miraculous way, you're not going to beat the Sixers or the Bucks in a 7-game series when everybody's healthy. You're just not. So, you know, they have that vision because they've been in the league all these years. They've won titles. So I think the front office does have to have some of that vision. You know, you're not going to play Steph 40 minutes a night every time. He's 33 years old, because like you said, Doc, you do have to sort of plan for that future. You know, you can play for this year, but you also have to play for whoever's, I mean, Ronnie knows the names. We got Jalen Green, Kuminga, Mobley, all these guys. You know, I don't want to say, who's that? Suggs.
Yep. That's my guy.
But he'll go top 3, right? Probably.
Potentially.
Cade Cunningham, right? That's number 1. I don't even want to say that one because these guys are going top 3 most likely. So you're looking at that Jalen Green type of, Jalen Johnson type of area between 7 and 10 is what you're hoping for. Scotty Barnes, exactly. My guy. So from FSU. So, you know, that's kind of what you're looking at, but you want to get into that top 10. Right now, the Warriors are 13th. It's not really where you want to be.
Yep. And just to be clear, there still is a possibility that we could get the Minnesota pick, as I've mentioned in previous podcasts. The way that the algorithm or the system for the ping pongs has changed, and so even if they end up with the worst record or the top 3 worst records, that would only give them a 40% chance to stay within the top 3. There'd actually be a 60% chance that we could potentially get it within the 4 or the 5th pick. Gotcha. They've done that because they want teams to not tank. And so, in some regard, you know, Minnesota could be losing all their games, not fully developing their team, not fully incorporating their offense for nothing, right? We might still get it. The likelihood of us getting it are probably slim. That's just the type of season that we've had. We're probably not going to get that pick. And so, I agree. It would be great if we could get a top 10 pick to bring a talented player. And then what we'll have in our back pocket, hopefully Minnesota continues to be just this horrible franchise. We would then get their unprotected pick the following year. So at that point, whatever it falls under, that's our pick, you know, and that could potentially be a trade asset as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts, Ron? Like, who do you see us targeting to, just kind of an aside, if we are in that 10 to 15 range?
You know, I actually watched the national championship game, Gonzaga and Baylor. Baylor got some dogs, you know, Jared Butler, I forgot his first name, but I know his last name's Mitchell, has the same jersey number.
Like Davion. Yeah, like Davion Mitchell.
Yeah, he's a bucket too. And then I think his name is Marcio Teague from Baylor, number 31.
Yep.
You know, he was the floaters, hitting them threes. Baylor got some dogs. So 10 to 15. I'm not sure if he's necessarily a lottery pick, projected lottery pick, but I like Jared Butler. Other guys like Jaden Springer, Jalen Johnson, guys like that. So
Yeah.
those guys, we seen what Jared Butler can do. But another guy that I actually liked, shout out to UCLA, Johnny Juzang. He just absolutely balled out this tournament. And I'm not sure if he can declare, but that's a 6'6" sniper right there. So, just guys like that. But
they're saying Johnny is probably going to declare, but I think he has like a second round grade on him right now.
Yeah, so he'll probably stay another year. But I think for the best fit, I think Jalen Johnson would probably be like a steal, like within that 10 to 15 range.
Yeah, I'm starting to agree with you on that because I've seen, again, as much as I mentioned before, like I like someone like Barnes. You need more scoring. I'm realizing that just based on what's going on in the second half. I've just been disappointed, to be honest, with Wiggins and Oubre. It's just been one night they're hot, another night they're ice cold. And I think that's probably what's most disappointing and surprising to Kerr and Myers, and to probably Steph and Draymond as well, is that they haven't had the help that they need. Steph's putting up 35, 40-point nights almost every night he's healthy. And, Draymond's still doing his thing. He's doing his best. But, they need more help. They need more scoring help. And so if Klay comes back completely back to who he was or close, that's fantastic. But I still think you need more firepower because, like you said, there's no guarantees. One of those big three go down, and then we're right back to this year, right? And so you need these young guys to come along.
Yeah. I would say whoever they draft within, whether it be the 10 to 15 range, it needs to be someone that you strongly believe can score in the NBA, and not just score, but score at a variety of different levels, from all different levels, from the 3-point line to the mid range, and can hit their free throws. Those are all critical parts of the game, and because we've seen, right, we've struggled to score at times too, even from the free throw line. You know what I mean? Even Steph Curry's missing a few recently. It's kind of weird to watch that, but we need a guy that we can trust during crunch time. And I know that person will be young, and that's probably going to be a lot on their shoulders, but we need to give Steph the best opportunity to still try to win, man. He deserves that. The guy's been balling out this season.
Yeah, exactly. Like the way he's playing right now tells me that he's going to be able to keep this level probably for another 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
But then after that, we don't.
Years.
At least 2, right? And then let's say he starts to taper off in the third, but at least he's still going to be good. I mean, and he's still going to draw a lot of attention. So Steph's a guy you're going to be respecting. It's like MJ, even at the end, it's like you're going to be gravitating towards him because he's the greatest at what he does. Like Steph's the greatest shooter. So you're going to keep gravitating over there, even when he's 36, 37 years old. And so that means, who's this young guy? Who's this young scorer? Because if we can't get a Cade Cunningham and one of these other top 3 guys like Suggs, et cetera, who's going to be this next kid? So the Warriors you got to think like that. I mean, it'd be great to get these kids some experience in the postseason. But if you know that your roster can't realistically compete in the postseason, you got to start planning because, like you said, Steph, Draymond, and Klay, they've done too much for this franchise for you to just kind of, waste their legs in a season where you're not really going to compete.
Yeah. And let's take it even further, right? I love what you were just saying, Real Deal. You got to think, as Joe Lacob said, light years ahead. And you also got to just acknowledge who on the roster right now is even going to be here next year. Are you keeping a Damian Lee? I don't know. Kelly Oubre might not be on the team. Are you keeping a Mulder? I don't think so. Right. And so you got to just start thinking that way. Like, who's even going to be on the squad? Because if the guys that you're talking about developing or giving them that experience aren't even going to be there, then what's the point? Curry and Draymond don't need any more experience. I mean, I think if it's just a playing game and if they knew they were going to lose, they'd rather go on vacation early. And that's not to question their competitive spirit. I just think that they know who they are. They don't got to prove it to anybody. And right now, if they're not going to win it this season, they want to make sure that moving forward next year that they do have a great opportunity to be competitive, not just during the regular season, but during the playoffs. And that does require an infusion of more talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they already have some young guys, guys that I've been watching since high school. James Wiseman, Nico Mannion, your guy JJ from Australia. I saw his college highlights too. They have some young talent, and just give them a couple years to develop, and they'll replace Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. I know those are gonna be big shoes to fill just because of what they've done in their careers, but I think just watching them, I think they definitely can do it. So just keep letting them develop, and they'll play great behind those guys.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think, like I'm excited to see JJ, Justinian Jessup, and Nico develop. Absolutely. And obviously Wiseman. But I'm just thinking also, when you have that can't miss lottery pick talent, I think that's what I'm looking at. And guys that can get you tough shots, like we saw in the tournament when the defense tightens up. I mean, Baylor absolutely blitz Gonzaga to start off that game. I mean, I knew that thing was done in the first few minutes because you can't chase the game like that. Not in the championship. I mean, and those guys just played great defense, but they were able to score even when Gonzaga turned up their defense. So like you said, Butler and these other guys, they found a way. You got to get to the line. You got to make a tough fadeaway. And the Dubs need more of those guys. I mean, when Steph is off the floor, there is no consistent scorer right now. And, it may at some point be like a Jessup or Nico, but I would be more comfortable knowing, okay, that lottery pick is the guy, whether maybe it's Jalen Johnson or someone like that, right? Someone that can come in and do that and play that role. And then one quick thing, we don't have a second round pick this year too, guys. So I know I mentioned in past episodes, we can maybe add like a Luke Garza or somebody like that. Not in the second. No, that's not going to happen. So that's why you need to bring Marquise Chris back.
Yeah.
So, but that's all I got, fellas. You guys got anything else before we sign off?
I just want to give a shout out to the folks that were commenting on some of our videos recently. I'll do better in the future having those names, but just thank you for engaging us in conversation. As we always say, you don't have to agree with us. We love discussing sports and getting other point of view. So please continue to do that. We completely welcome it. And if anything, it helps us become even better at this by just having these other point of views that y'all are able to offer. So just a shout out to those who watch our videos and comment on them. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Ronnie's mom.
Yep.
And with that, we're signing off. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good one.
See you, everybody.